Hi, welcome to another edition of Behind the Music Yoga. I'm your host, Sambhava, and on this show, we get into deconstructing music yoga songs, talking about the inspiration, how they were constructed, and maybe some hidden Easter eggs that are buried in the tracks. Today, I'm thrilled to be getting into one of my favorite songs, a song called Waikoloa Monastery. This is a song that originally appeared on the Vayu Meditation album, The Big Island, inspired by the Big Island of Hawaii, and it was later added on to with some cool new parts that I'll dig into in this section. So without further ado, let's get into Waikoloa Monastery. So before we get into the tracks, let's talk a little bit about the inspiration, or should I say likely inspiration. This song was originally composed before I was on the music yoga team, but using some context clues, I have a pretty good idea of what we're dealing with here. So the first is there's a section of Hawaii called the Waikoloa Village or Waikoloa Beach. It's a little bit north of the airport on the Big Island, and you can see here from the aerial shots, it's a very beautiful part of the island. So this black here is a lot of the lava rocks and things you'll see around that, and Waikoloa is sort of carved out of the coastline here, and it's this luscious green. You find a ton of resorts, and it's just a very beautiful, relaxing part of the island. I'll get into some pictures here off the Kohala coast. This is another just aerial shot of Waikoloa. So you can start to already get a sense that this is a place that is a well-curated, well-manicured, kind of beautiful, traditional kind of tourist Hawaii. But the name of the song is Waikoloa Monastery. And I have to assume that we're talking about the Lotus Buddhist monastery on the Big Island, which is just outside of Waikoloa. And if you look that up, there's lots of beautiful pictures of the monastery retreat center. There's a lot of very large statues on the property and just a very cool retreat center to hang out. You see this giant gold Buddha right here. So I can say with a lot of confidence, we're probably talking about the Lotus Buddhist Monastery, and you can read about them online. And this will, again, help to just kind of connect with what the energy of the song is maybe trying to communicate. So getting into the track itself, I have the files pulled up. And like I mentioned at the beginning, this song actually took many iterations. So I'll go through kind of each step of that progressively. So getting into the song a little bit, we'll talk about a couple of the main parts here, maybe starting with the melody track. So the synthesizer is providing what I would consider the main melody. And this bell comes in as a counter melody. So they start to dance with each other a little bit. Mudra, the composer of this, does lots of really cool things like this, where there's nice call and response. So I want to highlight this Rhodes part, which I think provides the melody for the B section. This part almost serves as kind of a build. We go back to the main melody, now with drums. You hear that Rhodes is doing the... We have the main melody and the Rhodes. So we have now these three ingredients starting to dance together. So that's what's happening during this main section, but I want to go back to the moment to the drums, because this is one of the most striking things when I originally heard this song. These drums just sound enormous, so I'll solo them. Very simple kick, snare, hi-hat pattern with very, very heavy reverb tail snare. So this original pattern is programmed drums. There's this, I call it the reindeer bell. Sounds like a jingle bell, just lightly in the background. So together those hit, since we're repeating the melody, I love it when it comes back with the drums underneath it, because it just adds this power and this bigness that the song is really suggesting up to here, but really pays off here. So I'll play it with everything in. So going into some of the maybe supporting tracks underneath this, let me bust open the synths really quick. So we have these textures that live underneath the song that give it a little extra character. So the first is these synth bells. So that goes throughout the whole song, just provides some texture. And then we get to the B part. Then we layer in some strings here as well. Then we go back to the main part. You have the string bass providing more the bass here. And the strings just give it a little bit more texture in this big chorus. And then when we repeat at the end, there's this other track that comes in called Yellow. Just giving it a little bit more character for this last repeat and introducing new sound. Very light in the mix. Gives it a little bit more heft. Then we come back into these big drums. So that's how the song existed for the better part of a decade, and beautiful song. Love everything about it. And more recently, when I reconnected with Bodhi, who's the guitar player of our Maha Sangha lineage, who's done so much of the amazing music yoga that we inspire and endeavor to create. This is one of the songs that I sent him with the intention of, this is already a structurally perfect song. It has these beautiful dimensions, but what if, are there opportunities where the guitar could take and elevate some of these bigger qualities and take them to the next level? So what Bodhi sent back, let me pop open his guitar tracks real quick, is a couple of things. Because one, he really gravitated towards this Rhodes part. And again, that's the part in the B part that's doing this. And he doubled it on guitar. We'll listen to that again. Now with everything. Taking what's already there, giving it a little bit more organic texture with the nylon string. But then what he did was really cool thing is he added this slide guitar for this main section. Again, just taking what's going on in the Rhodes track and just giving it character. taking this whole section and just taking it to the next level, gives it a more soaring quality. We're always trying to get that elevation of consciousness and attention in music yoga, and this just captures it really beautifully. Back to the B part. We're again doubling the roads, but now on the nylon. And then coming up, we have another acoustic guitar double, one of the main parts. Just let it play there. Now here's our acoustic guitar. This is mirroring, actually, the elegant part here. Now both of them are going. We have the slide and the acoustic. Start to deviate a little bit. Doing these just held. Getting towards the end of the song. Up the enthusiasm and the excitement. So that's what Bodhi added, just very simple things. There was things that were already in the song, but just by the mixture of the synthetic instruments and the organic live instrument on top of it, there's something about the balance of those that brings out a quality that wasn't there before. And it just takes these parts that are already there and kind of polishes them off and really elevates them in the mix, which I love. Two more things that were added very late stage in the song, because the live drums were always very cool. But they were very programmed. So again, we have our live drums. Then that reverb tail is just ferocious. So this is one, as I was working on some other songs, we again had the opportunity to have a live drummer. So Casey Dietz came in, just playing this very simple pattern. And I have a whole section of him. These are the live drum tracks, individually mic'd for everything. So when that comes in, it sounds like this. This is the drum track being fed through some reverb, fed through some compression and just things to make it sound bigger. So that's there. And what we ended up doing for the final mix is doing actually a little bit mix of both. So we actually kept some of the reverb tail and the snare and mixed that in over the live drum track. So together it sounds something like this. Here's the original. Here's both. Just the live. So again, there's something of just having them side by side and they're mixed. You get the really long tails from the original, but something that's a little bit more organic. You did a little bit more interesting work in the pattern. And then I went back and recorded live bass over that. So because we had those low kind of bass, bowed bass there, but this just gave it a little bit more low end. It gives it a little bit more pop on the pattern. So this is cool for especially a song that kind of has these very distinct A, B, A parts where it swells up and it swells down. We thought it made a really cool blend of the organic and the synthetic, and it gave these parts where there's a little bit more of a humanizing feel to it that's still very beautiful. And then, it gives it a little bit more contrast in the song when you put all that together. That was a mudra trick I learned early on. Having electronic instruments mixed with acoustic instruments is usually a pretty compelling combination. So when you put that all together, we have the final mix, and we'll do a one-song meditation listening to the Waikoloa Monastery. So for this meditation, you're just going to sit up nice and straight. We're going to have a focus on the navel, so about 2 inches below the belly button. And you're just, with your eyes closed, going to bring your focus to the navel. And if you have a point where your thought takes your focus away from the navel, you're just going to let the thought go, bring the focus back to the navel over and over and over again. And without further ado, we'll have a one-song meditation listening to Waikoloa Monastery. Let's begin. Very nice. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Behind the Music Yoga, and look forward to seeing you soon.